Hello, my name is Kelly Bluen. Welcome to my mini mandala series. In these videos, I show you how to make beautiful little mandalas using a few basic tools. So I have a 5-inch by 5-inch little sketchbook, a coin, mine is a penny, but anything round will work, a micron pen for my drawing, and then I have a little graphite pencil. This is just a number 2 HB pencil, and a blending tool and an eraser. I also have this little piece of scrap paper that I'm going to use like a ruler. All right, so that's all that you need. And I like to begin by tracing my coin in the center of my paper. There's the beginning of our mandala. Nice and simple. Okay, then I take my pencil and I'm going to make a grid. And this is where I don't worry about being fancy or being straight or accurate. Where other people that make mandalas use special tools and they can measure and make it very symmetrical, I like to just do it by hand and hope for the best. Okay, so I put a horizontal and a vertical line, and then I divide these 4 sections up in half, like that. Okay, then I'm going to take my little piece of paper that I'm going to use as a ruler, and I'm going to set it on top of the circle, and I'm going to make a little mark about 2 pencil widths up. So right about there. And I'm going to make it on the little paper and onto my grid. Do the same thing here. And I'm going all the way around, and this is going to create my guide to make my next circle. I like using paper because I don't always have a ruler with me. In fact, I'm recording this at a hotel, and I don't have a ruler, I don't have a compass, I don't have any measuring tools, and so I just need a paper, a pencil, a pen, and that's it, and I can make these mandalas anywhere that I am. Okay, I'm going to set that aside for a moment, and now I'm going to connect these with slightly curved lines. And this is going to make my circle. All right. Okay, now I'm going to make another mark. So I'm going to put that back on the top of the circle. And I'm going to make a mark above that, probably a little bit less than the width of my pencil. Just nice and thin. So make a mark on each one of these. And the further we go out, the harder it is to connect these very smoothly. So just try your best. I like to just kind of let my pencil go very lightly over it. Okay, there's my mandala grid. So now I'm going to switch to pen to get started. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to start with the center. And in the center, I'm going to do this very first line here. And I'm going to go up and then curve over like a little hook. up and over. And then I'm going to do the next one, up and over. And I don't know if you can notice on my mandala, but these top ones are a lot smaller than the bottom ones, which just means my horizontal line was not in the center of the circle, and I'm okay with that. It doesn't matter. For me, making these mandalas is meant to be relaxing, and I'm not going to worry too much about making things even or exactly the same. Okay, so I got that little center done, and then I like to color in this leftover area here. And it makes it feel very dramatic having the dark and the light. Okay, now inside of these I'm going to go up and just give it a tiny little curl. So up and a little curl. There we go. We've made the center of our mandala. Okay, for this next part, I'm going to put in tall petals, and I would like to put in 2 in each section. If 2 is not enough and you want to do 3, you can. It does not have to be even all the way around. So if you make 2 and you've got a little bit more space, go ahead and do a third one. Does that make sense? I'm aiming for 2, but I don't really care how many fit in there. So I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to go up and curve and down, up and curve and down. And see, I've still got space, and that's okay. I'm aiming for 2 just so I can keep these about the same width. So like now I've got a lot more space, and that's okay. I'm trying to touch that outer line each time I go. I definitely went far away from the 2 per section, but it's still helping me guide about how wide to make them, so that's okay. So now I'm getting close to the end. I have to decide, do I want to put 1 in there or 2 in there? I think I'm just going to do 1, even though it's going to be pretty wide. That's okay. Okay, once you get all of those in, then I'm going to fill in or go over that circle line. And again, I'm not worried about perfection. I'm not worried about it being a perfect circle. Just going over that. And then in between each of these petals, I'm going to put in a little circle. Some spaces are larger than others, which means your little circles are going to be changing sizes as you go, and that's okay. And And then I'm going to take a moment to ink in this area around the circle. So this takes a few minutes, but it's also very relaxing just to fill in these little areas, so you don't need to rush. Enjoy that process. And notice how that dark area looks so beautiful, and it matches that dark area in the center. All right, take a moment to finish that up. Okay, now we're going to decorate or add some detail to the inside of these petals. And so for these, we're going to go on the inside and create a little aura, which is just going to be a line that goes right alongside a previous line. I'm going all the way up and all the way down. I love that detail. So with mandalas, I feel like we're always looking for a balance of dark and light, a balance of open space and space that is filled with details. So it's your preference, whatever you like to do. You do not have to draw exactly how I am. Okay, inside each of these, I'm going to do another detail where I do a line and a dot. And if you would like to do something different, then please do that. This is video number 63 in this mini mandala series. And I never imagined making more than just a few. And so it has been so much fun, and I love that you've been on this journey with me. But I do feel like mandalas are very personal. And so each video I try to show you a new technique or a new shape to use, but I want you to love your mandala and I want you to enjoy doing it. So feel free at any moment to say, I don't love that. I want to make my things wider, or I don't want to put the little circles in there. This is your mandala. I want it to be special for you. Okay, I've got those center details done. And now I'm going to add these little, let's see, I think I'm going to actually trace this next layer first. And I know this is kind of tricky because we need to have a steady hand and we're kind of doing a dot to dot, but it's okay. It's okay if some are more straight than others. All right, I'm going to start on this top line, and I'm going to put about 3 boxes in each of these. So 1, 2, 2 lines, and then I have the 3 little boxes. 3 boxes. If yours needs to have more or less, it's okay. No one's going to notice. And look at mine are now getting kind of uneven, so I'm not staying exactly in the sections, but I am trying to make each little area be even or around the same size. Once you get those lines in, then we're going to put like a little mountain type shape inside each one. And they all sort of look like houses. So I'm just going down a little ways and I'm going up to the top and down, up and down. Little zigzags. I think they look like little roofs of houses. It's amazing how just adding those changes what the mandala looks like. And then because I'm really enjoying adding these dark areas today, I'm going to put ink over that top little area that is left in between the 2 little house shapes. So some people have asked what I do with my mandalas when I am finished. And I do art to relax. So I am not making these to sell or to give to anybody or even to add in a frame. This is just my way of finding a few moments for myself and feeling relaxed. And I just keep them in this cute little notebook, and then I write a journal entry each time I make one. And my journal entry is just 1 or 2 sentences about what's going on in my life, what's on my heart this week. And then if I want to make a gift for somebody, or I want to make one to put in a frame, then I typically would do it over again on a clean piece of paper, and I would really take my time and really put some special intentions into it as I draw. So this notebook is more of my practice book. Look how pretty that's looking. Okay, inside each of these cute little shapes, I'm going to do 2 little lines. If you would like to add like an aura inside to match the auraing that we did on those petals, that would be beautiful as well. But I'm just going to do these little flicks of my pen. Give it some texture. I like the layers of black and white in this one. Okay, so to finish this one, I'm going to go back and do the patterning that I did in the center. I like to bring that back out again. So I need to make some little petals that I can put these spirally hooks in. So to do that, I have a couple of options. One is I can use my scrap paper and I can make another layer to draw in, or I can just do it by hand, and that's what I'm going to do. But if you want to make a little section and go around and do another circle, you can. But I'm just going to do it by hand and see how it turns out. So I like that these petals sort of build off of each other. It's not just one tall piece, it goes up and stops, and then the next one comes. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up and stop, up and stop. And if you want to go the other way and you have a complete one there, then we can just go like this. And we're just making that little hook shape. And it just gives it a little bit more of like a layered look than each petal being out on its own. And because I did not make a line, I just want to be aware of making them about the same height and the same width. It's a long way to go as our mandala gets larger. And every time we add a layer, we have more we need to make because that outside edge has gotten more surface area than we had in the center. Okay, those look so nice, and I'm just going to put in that little curly Q to the left. And again, if you have something else you would like to do, please do it. Just like repeating elements. So one reason I like to repeat elements is just kind of the cohesiveness of the piece. And the other reason is laziness. I just don't want to have to create a new idea on every single layer. So by repeating things I've already done, my brain can just relax and copy from a layer from earlier. Look at how pretty that looks. There's traffic outside my hotel room and I can hear the highway. All right, I might be done a little bit before you because I tend to draw quickly. So if you need to pause it at this point to catch up, that would be great. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I like that I've got this little dark edge on each layer so far, and I would like it on this final edge as well. So to do that, because I didn't draw another circle, I have this uneven little bumpy edge, all I'm going to do is thicken that outer line. So I'm going to take each of these little bumps and I'm just going to go over it again. See how I just did that? And it's not a lot, but it does give that nice dark finish that helps sort of finish this piece and give it a nice clean dark edge. If you would rather use just a thicker pen and just trace over it once, you could do that as well. But I don't mind just kind of this rocking back and forth and adding those little layers, one little bump at a time. I love these Micron PN, these plastic nib pens, because I feel like you can get a really fine line for detail work, but you also can kind of angle it on its side and get this wider stroke. And I think I have every size Micron. I've got the 005 and the 05 and 01 and 03 and 08. But this is the one that I just kind of keep going back to, is this PN. Okay, there it is. All right, we're going to do a little bit of shading. I'm going to initial my work. And do some shading, and then down here I will write episode 63. I will write the date, and then I'll write a sentence or two about what's going on. All right, so I'm going to grab my graphite pencil, and in the center one I'm just going to put a little bit of graphite sort of poking out from that center into those petals. I'm going to grab my blending tool and I'm just going to push it up slightly. I'm also going to put a little bit on that right hand side of each petal where it would maybe have the slightest little shadow because these are overlapping. For these tall petals here, I'm going to just put some graphite on the bottom of the petals, which is the outside edge of that first big circle. I'm going to push that up and into the petals a little bit. And I go to this next edge here, and I'm going to put a little bit at the bottom of those house shapes. You don't need a lot. These shapes are small. And I'm going to push that up into the houses just a little bit. I know they're not houses, but I don't know what other shape to call those. Pentagons. Look how beautiful that looks. All right, this outside edge, this is going to take a second, but I'm going to put it on that right-hand side of each petal. And let me show you what that does. When I soften it, it really gives those a layered look, like there's a little shadow in between each one. And if you don't want to take the time to do this, you could just add the graphite around the bottom edge and push it up into it if you'd like. But I like this layered look that happens when we do this. And I'm essentially just putting one little pencil line on each edge. It doesn't need a lot of graphite. I'm going all the way around. And then I will go back and soften each one. So when I soften each one, I'm being careful to pull it towards the little spiral and not crossing over into the next petal. All right, that is all of them. Now I'm going to take my kneaded eraser and I'm just going to erase these little outside grid lines that I had made. And if you ever feel like you have too much graphite on your piece, you can take these kneaded erasers and you can blot, and it just sort of picks up some of that graphite. So these things are really great. They're really squishy. It's called a kneaded eraser. Okay. Anyway, there is our mandala for the week. Thank you for spending that 35 minutes with me. It's one of my favorite parts of my week, being able to just calm down, take a breath, and just sit here and make beautiful shapes with all of you. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful week. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.